Unleash your inner champion. Bernardinho's secrets to building winning teams. Igniting excellence. How Bernardinho's passion fuels winning teams. Today, we shift our focus from the solitary journey of an athlete to dive into the mind of a true strategist. A leader who didn't just win but shaped an era. Someone whose obsession with results and excellence turned raw talent into world champions. We're talking about Bernardinho, the name that transcends volleyball and became synonymous with high performance, discipline, and relentless leadership. Unlike Michael Jordan, whose inner fire drove personal triumph, or Serena Williams, fueled by purpose, Bernardinho offers a new perspective. How one person's discipline can spread like wildfire and shape an entire team's culture. The most iconic image of Bernardinho is courtside, shouting, eyes blazing with intensity, demanding perfection in every play. To outsiders, it might seem like arrogance or excess, but to those inside the team, it was clear. This was the expression of a deep purpose, a non-negotiable. Why? This discipline, this fire, wasn't about stroking a perfectionist coach's ego. It was, above all, a call. A constant reminder that excellence doesn't come from comfort, but from confrontation. Bernardinho confronted. He challenged. He created an environment where mediocrity had no room to breathe. Slowly, his personal obsession with winning became contagious. Like a spark turning into a blaze, he made his obsession spread through the team. He understood something few leaders grasp. Individual talent can win a game, but only a mentally aligned group wins a championship. His mission went beyond tactics and strategies. He aimed to shape his athlete's psyche, building a collective mindset that accepted nothing less than the top. Bernardinho enforced a code of conduct not just with words but by example. He was the first to arrive and the last to leave. He studied the most, demanded the most of himself, prepared the most. His discipline was a mirror. In its reflection, players saw what they needed to become. He didn't just train skills, he rewired behaviors, and he did it with the same intensity for veterans and rookies alike. This is the first, and perhaps most vital lesson Bernardinho teaches us. A true high-performance leader doesn't just point the way. They build, with their own energy, an environment where excellence becomes inevitable, where standing still feels more uncomfortable than pushing forward, where accountability stops being a burden and becomes a habit. He refused anything less than the best because he believed everyone had untapped potential within, and to awaken it, he was willing to set the entire environment ablaze. If you loved how Bernardinho turns obsession into excellence, like the video, share what inspired you most in the comments, and subscribe for more high-performance content. Harnessing envy, turning competition into growth. As we dive deeper into Bernardinho's mindset, we uncover that his genius wasn't just in relentless discipline or total control over training. One of his most fascinating leadership traits was his ability to turn so-called negative human emotions into engines of growth. And among them, perhaps the most underestimated is envy. Not destructive, corrosive envy. Bernardinho cultivated what he called positive envy. Instead of suppressing feelings of comparison among players, he used them as fuel to push each one beyond their limits. For him, if someone on the team stood out, the response wasn't to feel diminished, it was to feel challenged. From that discomfort, a new level of commitment, focus, and growth emerged. In his training, there was no comfort zone. He deliberately put athletes in uneasy situations, forcing them to compete against each other. Rookies against veterans, reserves against starters. He knew that under pressure, true potential surfaces. Those who crumble reveal their weaknesses. Those who resist and respond, grow. It was a controlled battlefield where the enemy wasn't the other, but one's own limitations. Bernardinho saw each player as a raw stone to be polished. The friction between these stones sparked the fire of high performance. It wasn't enough for one player to improve. He wanted everyone in a constant cycle of growth, where one's progress pushed others to the next level. In his vision, a team of champions only existed if every individual chose, by their own will, to leave the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. This culture of positive comparison created a highly competitive yet collaborative environment. Athletes knew they were being challenged by peers, but also fighting for the same cause. Healthy rivalry turned into admiration, and insecurity into self-awareness. When a player was outdone, they didn't sink into frustration. They asked, "What's missing in me to reach that level?" And from that question, an inner journey began. Bernardinho deeply understood the psychology of high performance. He knew talent alone wasn't enough. Often, what separates a good athlete from a great champion is how they handle environmental pressure. So, he created controlled scenarios where pressure was intentional, constant, inevitable. This is one of Bernardinho's most sophisticated lessons. A great leader doesn't just demand performance, they build an ecosystem where excellence is naturally sparked. Where comparison doesn't breed resentment but inspiration. Where discomfort doesn't paralyze but drives transformation. In essence, Bernardinho wasn't just training athletes. He was teaching people to face their insecurities, to turn the pain of comparison into a desire to improve. In this emotional alchemy, he created something rare and powerful. A team that didn't just want to win, but needed to grow every single day. What did you think of using envy as fuel for growth? Like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to catch more leadership lessons. Forging champions, the power of Bernardinho's intense leadership. If positive envy was the spark Bernardinho used to ignite his athletes' inner fire, the intensity of his leadership was the hammer that shaped them, day after day. But that hammer, while effective, was heavy, and its force caused pain, a pain not always understood right away, but, over time, proved necessary. Bernardinho never hid his demanding approach. On the contrary, he saw it as an inseparable part of talent shaping. His shouts, his reprimands, his sharp corrections all were part of a method that often bordered on uncomfortable, even intolerable for those who didn't grasp the purpose behind it. He wasn't a coach chasing applause or approval. He was a leader seeking transformation, and he knew that required going beyond technique. He needed to touch his athletes' core, even if it meant confronting them harshly and directly. Being coached by Bernardinho was, for many, a shock. There was no room for fragile egos or those expecting constant validation. His environment was one of constant friction. He believed true potential only revealed itself under real pressure. He provoked, he prodded, he pushed. At times, he even humiliated, not out of cruelty, but as strategy. Bernardinho knew the comfort zone was the graveyard of talent, and he refused to let any player hide behind excuses or conveniences. This leadership style drew criticism. Many called him authoritarian, intolerant, relentless. But what few saw was that his toughness matched his belief in each athlete's potential. He believed in them so much that he wouldn't let anyone sabotage themselves. He saw beyond the present what that athlete could become, and he accepted nothing less. Bernardinho led with demands, but also with responsibility. He didn't push just for results. He pushed because he knew that, in the real world, winning takes more than talent. It takes resilience. And resilience doesn't come from soft environments. It comes from friction, from falling, from pain, and, above all, from overcoming. This pain, though uncomfortable, was instructive. It was the pain that exposed flaws, forced athletes to face their limits, and pushed them to the next step. It was purposeful pain. Bernardinho caused pain, yes, but to heal. He didn't offer instant comfort but lasting growth. That's what sets him apart from ordinary leaders. He didn't coach for the next game. He coached for the next phase of life. The truth is, Bernardinho's leadership requires maturity to understand. It demands athletes realize the path to the top isn't paved with kind words, but with intense challenges. That a true leader doesn't say what we want to hear, but what we need to face. This is Bernardinho's third great lesson. True leader has the courage to be unpopular. Because they don't seek applause, they seek growth. And sometimes, a coach's greatest act of love is their willingness to confront us with truths we avoid facing alone. Did Bernardinho's intense leadership inspire or challenge you? Like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more transformative stories. Endless growth. Why Bernardinho's legacy never stops evolving. After exploring the discipline that shapes, the competition that strengthens, and the pain that heals, we reach the quietest and perhaps most powerful part of Bernardinho's journey, his legacy. But not just any legacy. We're talking about a living, breathing legacy that keeps expanding even after the medals are hung and the champion chants fade from the stands. Because, for Bernardinho, winning was never the end. It was always the next step. Unlike many who, after reaching the top, settle into the comfort of fame and achievement, Bernardinho stayed restless. While others celebrated, he studied. While many stopped, he kept moving. His mind never rested. And that's what makes him a true high-performance genius. He's an eternal learner. Off the court, Bernardinho didn't retire. He just changed arenas. He took his philosophy to the corporate world, to education, to personal development. He keeps lecturing, mentoring, challenging minds to rethink their limits. But what's most striking is his willingness to keep learning. He studies other leaders from different sports, different cultures. He seeks knowledge from philosophers, managers, educators. Because he knows leadership isn't fixed, it evolves. And only those who evolve with it stay relevant. This mindset separates fleeting champions from those who leave lasting marks. Bernardinho doesn't just want to be remembered as the gold medal coach. He wants to be remembered as someone who transformed lives, who shaped more resilient, committed, self-aware people. His why was never just victory. It was the process, the growth, the impact. In every talk, every lecture, every piece of advice, one core value shines through: a commitment to excellence as a way of life. Not as a distant goal, but a daily practice. For Bernardinho, excellence isn't something you achieve and done. It's something you build every day, even behind the scenes, even when no one's watching. That quiet consistency is, perhaps, his greatest legacy. He shows us that true greatness doesn't depend on the podium. It depends on the mindset. And once that mindset is built, it becomes part of who we are. That's why his legacy is unfinished. It lives on in every athlete he shaped, in every person who heard his words and chose to demand more of themselves. Bernardinho teaches us that true champions don't stop. They transform. And by transforming, they keep winning in new arenas, with new audiences and new roles. His fire hasn't gone out. It's just changed form. Now, instead of burning on the courts, it lights the paths of those who want more from life. Did Bernardinho's legacy motivate you to pursue excellence? Like, comment how you'll apply this to your life, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.